Hey everyone, I hope that you're having a good week. Today I want to talk about love. Yeah, I know, huge surprise, Chris is talking about love. But it's more about romantic love, friendship love, family love too. But it's about like the feeling deserving around it, and that is exactly what I want to talk about today. I have a lot of people who I connect with in my line of work, where we talk about love, we talk about relationships, about friendships, about, mergings and, falling outs and all of those things. And I feel like love to me, it's like if I were to explain my brand of spirituality, love is goddess or God, whatever it is. It's like it's about expressing how you feel, about being vulnerable and being happy and full of joy. But also as much as you project out that love, it is something that comes to me so easily, so much easier than it is actually then receiving it. That is the one thing that has been coming up a lot this week, and that has been a really, really big theme, is the worthiness of love. And just to be vulnerable for a moment, I am someone who fully believes in the brand of my love, specifically romantically and around friendship. I believe that I have the capacity to give and to almost, like, I wouldn't say overwhelm, but it's just a very big brand of love. And it's like I want to give of myself, give of service, let that person know that I'm always thinking about them. But for some reason, I have had a past of choosing people who either overlook it, or overlook me, or are very intimidated by that. And it has led me to have this narrative in the past that I'm unlovable, which isn't true. And I know that I'm not. But sorry, that pause wasn't a doubt. It was actually, I was going to add, like, and I'm kind of a babe, which is true. But that doesn't also mean that I'm lovable. Actually, like, it's my character that makes me lovable. But that said, it doesn't matter, who you are. I was like listening to this, one person on Instagram, and she was like breaking down, as some of my friends know, I was cheated on a couple months ago, and I was like, man, fuck this, what is happening in the universe? And then someone had posted, like, look, like Megan Fox was cheated on, she like Ava Longoria, like just listed all these like women who have been cheated on, who are like goddesses, and it's like, it's not you, girl. And I was like, oh right, thank you. And I've done a lot of work around it since. But the one thing that I stand very strongly in, though, and I'm being challenged right now, is stepping into a connection where I feel love for, and it's very triggering, and it makes me feel very not insecure anymore, but really of like I'm so protective about, this package, that I want it to be seen and to be shown in the sunlight and to be fully explored. And I think that that is the biggest thing that keeps all of us from giving that love, giving that piece of ourselves to other people, because we're afraid of what they're going to do with it. And I think that is also, I know I'm rambling at this point, but I guess that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of what is it called? The experiment, is to see how we do and how we alchemize how we love. I've had the great fortune of loving and being loved by wonderful people as well. I don't want just to paint my past with all the negatives. I was with someone for 10 years who, I still think about how great that love was in its container. And I was very lucky to have that experience. And so I think in my reading today, after this 90,000 minute speech and ramble, I want to talk about how can we step more authentically into love, and away from fear, right? So the first, this is kind of cool. Our current energy is stillness. It's about going still, going within, and just like holding. It's almost like, that stillness in the air before something major happens. Almost embracing that moment of stillness within ourselves, to, I think, figure out how to alchemize how we move forward, in a relationship dynamic with somebody. Faye, who I love this actually. This doesn't come up a lot in my readings. Faye, who is a masculine self-worth. And I love that as the challenge, because a lot of the times when we're stepping into a connection, especially women, especially feminines, we give it all. Like we almost like lose ourselves in a lot of ways. I'm not saying this hasn't happened to men either, to masculines, but I think that the one thing, especially as a feminine, that I struggle with is losing my identity and losing who I am in as a trade-off for romance, which is unacceptable. And it's something, it's a lesson that, you know, it's not like it happens overnight and you're like, oh yeah, I figured it out, I woke up today. You know, we have to love ourselves and step into that self-worth in order for us to understand how it all fits in the bigger picture of a relationship dynamic. And then my favorite rune ever, just likes to come up in every single reading, a little bit bored by that, but surrender, Awaz. The outcome of stepping into your self-worth is surrender. And if I were to kind of sum it up, I would say that stepping into love without, you know, with a dynamic that is free and informed, but also like removing the fear, is going still within yourself to kind of like somatically hold space for yourself before you release that love into the ether. But the challenge is holding on to it, is, you know, knowing your self-worth, knowing who you are, and not losing yourself in the fray of, you know, because love can be fun, you know, right? It actually not can. It is fun. It's why we do it. It's why we become messy over and over and over again. And then finally surrendering to whatever happens, that you can't control the past, you can't control the future, but you can surrender to what happens when you release that fear, which I think is a really pretty, it's a really pretty message. So anyway, I hope everyone has a good weekend, and anyone who holds fear around love, I just ask that you go still for a minute and give some of that love back to yourself. Have a good weekend.